Got something a little bit different for you guys today. Instead of having one guest, I'm actually combining a big portion of my guests from season 2 because I ask the same 3 questions at the end of each episode, and I wanted to do a bit of a compilation to give you like an influx of inspiration and motivation around this one topic. So one of these questions, the one I'm focusing on today, is I always ask my guests, what would be one piece of advice that you would give to someone who is potentially working in a job that they really don't like and they want to start following some dream, some passion, some project. They've got something that they really want to do and they know that they want a bigger life, but they're doubting themselves. And I ask them, what would be one piece of advice that you would give them to help them start moving in that direction now? So here is a bunch of amazing advice from so many amazing different humans who have all conquered their own fears, who have all said no to procrastination. They have said yes to the unknown, and they have created lives that they absolutely love for themselves based around the things that they are passionate about. So I hope you really enjoyed this episode. I know you're going to get so much out of it, and I would love to hear from you in the comments of the YouTube video, or hit me up on Instagram at Sarah Louise Maxwell or at Truejectory, and let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you gained from this episode. Stay true. Love you.
Let's imagine now you go back to the old job that you were in when you were sort of, not really there mentally. Imagine for people who are still in those jobs going, I'm counting down till Friday, every day is sucky, I don't want to get out of bed. I have this dream, but I don't know what to do about it. What is your advice for them?
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, I've lived that life for longer than I probably wish I did. And it would be, honestly, start planning, start being as disciplined as you are with whatever you're doing to make sure you get out of that. Don't just continually, if you do what you always have done, you'll get what you've always got. So you have to break that sort of monotonous cycle. Break the cycle, and whether that be, don't overthink it as well. Sometimes if you overthink it because the goal's so large, you'll become overwhelmed. But if you set smaller goals, okay, I'm gonna if whatever you want to do to leave the industry that you're in, okay, this week I'm going to start my website. Or whatever, or this week I'm going to get the logo done for my new business or my new goal that I'm going to do. If you can do that and you get that little goal done, it'll motivate you to get the next goal done and the next one and the next one. But if you look at it like, and then I've got to do this and I've got to get this and I need to get an ABN and I've got to do this, and you're like, you know what?
Too much.
It's too much, and that's the same for anyone. So if you can just write it all down step by step. And come up with a little, maybe some dates that you have to get it done by, and just try and knock a few things out, and talk to people that are doing what you want to do.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And ask them how they did it.
I love that. There's a few great pieces in there. Thank you.
So final question, what is just one piece, I know there's 50,000 that you could offer, but one piece of advice for someone who is in that 9 to 5, looking at their Fridays, hating their Sundays, counting down till they can get out of there but not sure where they're going to go? What is just one piece of advice for them to sort of give them a little bit of fire, to remind them that they can?
That is I think I would go with, take a moment and ask yourself what you want and why you want it. And if that's too hard, because for some people it is, then start off with what you don't want. And just be willing to cross those things off and go after that. I think that a lot of people, and I'm thinking about people that are socialized female, they never ask themselves, or they've never been asked, what do you want? It's not, even some people, they have no idea. So to me, even just taking a beat to start thinking like that and give yourself permission to be like, no, but what do I want? Circling back to COVID. COVID was the great pause. And one of the best things, I think a lot of good things came out of it. And one of the best things that came out of it was it gave people time. And it gave people time to say, what do I want? And maybe that starts off with, what do I not want? Because that's oftentimes easier. What do I not want to see come back? And I think just starting out with that of either what do I want, what do I want to feel, is what do I want, and giving yourself permission to express those things. Or if you're like, I don't even know, then start off with what do I not want? And then from a very action-oriented approach is just, okay, how do I work to cross one thing off at a time? Give yourself as long as it takes. time's going to pass anyway. And just cross one thing off at a time.
That is beautiful advice. Thank you so much for that. And it's not just, just try this and then people go, oh, I can't do that. You've given them, if you can't do it this way, then try this way. I love that. If you can't figure out what exactly you do want, because it's a big question. It's scary. And sometimes you don't even want to look at it yet. You don't want to look directly at it. It's sort of like, I'll look around it, but not.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just so much. And I think it speaks to like having goals. Like, so I think if you're able to come up with like, I want a direction, then it's more forgiving and accommodating. But when you're like, I want to make $100,000 and like it's so like this goal, like that can be so like limiting and you don't get there and you're like, but when you're like, I know what I don't want, cool, just cross one thing off at a time. That's it.
Small changes, people.
Dude, compounding is magic.
You wait, I'm gonna be a famous guitarist in a few years. Just watch.
So, final question. For anyone who's listening, who is in their 9-to-5 still, who's really not happy with it and is starting to get that, that little itch of, I want to kind of do the thing that I want to do, even if they don't actually know what it is yet, what's one piece of advice? I know, again, there's probably 1,000 pieces of advice, but what's maybe one thing that you would tell them to start focusing on so they can start moving closer towards that dream life that they're wanting?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably cutting down. Like, I took way too long to maybe it was part of the journey, but way too long to kind of get to what was already in front of me. So, I mean, what are the things that you are naturally good at? What are the things that you enjoy doing? That's it. It's like, it's really starting to think and hone in on what those things are. And I think people know, other people probably know, around you, what those things are.
That's a good call. You could ask other people.
Ask someone else. But you probably know, like, just really have a think about that. Think about what you'd be happy to get up and do, every day for the rest of your life. So it comes easily to you, and the answers are they're there.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh, I love it.
So speaking of that, final question for anyone who might be listening, who's in one of those jobs we talked about that might be a 9-to-5 that they might not particularly like, and they might have a little spark. What if they have a spark in them that's like, I want to be a DJ, but I never believed in myself, or I want to go and work with kids, or I want to do whatever it might be. What would you say to them as the first, 1 or 2 steps that they could start taking to start moving closer to that thing that they actually want to do?
For me, I would say sometimes I feel like it would look like just a massive mountain for someone who wants to like embark on it, and it's just really daunting, and they'll be like, oh no, what if I'm not accepted? What if I'm rejected? What if I don't do well, etc.? All these things coming into your mind, like, that you don't really need initially. It's that little thing of, when you're looking at a mountain and you want to walk up that mountain, you're staring at it and you're like, oh my God, it's massive. I don't know if I can do this. And you're already second guessing it. So one of those things of like, look at your feet and just count every step, like each step. It's just one step and now you're closer. Oh, there's another step. Look at that. You're even closer. That's insane. So it's like chipping away at it. So I wouldn't be like, don't look at the massive picture and think, okay, I want to be a DJ. I want to be like Steve Aoki. You can be like, that could be inspirational, but that could be quite daunting too. So it'd be reach out just to 2 or 3 people that you know of that's in that kind of network or in that industry, and just say, I want to pick your brain. Like, I want to pick your brain, because lo and behold, when you do start to reach out to people, they'll respect you. And if they do respect you enough, you'll be now in their minds of, oh, actually, I could probably really help you. Something might pop up in the future and they'll hit you up again and be like, hey, are you still doing this? It gives you a little bit of a kick. So maybe you've taken a bigger step towards that mountain because of that. So I'd always say reach out. Like, there are people there for a reason. Like, people, I know, like, you think, oh, like, I was always someone who didn't want to like get like, I felt like a burden. Oh, hey, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me here? But then the more I just like, okay, just stop, just ask. Some people, they might not, they're busy. But then some people will literally, and I'm sure like me or you, would just be like, yeah, like, I will help. Like, what do you need?
How can I help?
Or can I point you in a direction of someone who can help if I can't? So I'd say, reach out to like 3 or 4 people in that kind of vibe that you want. And YouTube. YouTube is, man, you can learn how to get rid of like a body on YouTube, like a dead body, you know. You can learn anything. So
someone sitting at their desk going, that was my passion. That's what I wanted to do.
My passion.
That's what I want to do.
7 points on that.
Final question.
Yes.
For anyone who is still in their job and they're like, I have a dream, I have a goal, but I don't believe in myself. Like, that's not possible. I'm just going to be stuck here forever. What would your advice be to them? Just maybe the first step that they could take, because I'm sure you would have many pieces of advice, but what's the first thing that they could do to start moving towards that direction?
Get over it. No one cares.
I love that. You're the one who told me that, actually.
Yeah.
That stuck with me.
Nobody cares.
So stop caring what people think.
Just the way you obsess about yourself, everyone's obsessing about themselves. Like, no one noticed that my hair's curly now. This is a fake perm. Because no one cares. I'm the only one. I'm like, do you think people will notice?
Yeah.
No one cares. Trust me. Just if you have any self-doubts, it's self-doubt. Like, not if you change something, most of the time, like, it's in here. Get over it. Like, that's like a bit of tough love as well.
Yeah.
Like, just get over
It's
it.
necessary though. I love that.
What do you want to look back at? And this is all like cliche stuff because everything's been said. Same with when people go, what should I eat? Can I have Maccas? No, you can't. If you want to lose body fat, probably ideal not to eat calorie dense food such as Maccas.
Yeah.
You can eat Maccas and lose body fat, but you can have one meal a day because it's so calorie dense.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of knows what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Just like, this guy's going to say something that's going to trigger my mind. No, it's like, until your why is big enough, most people tend to not.
Yep. They don't listen or they don't take it in. It's not the right time.
Yeah, like a blanket statement would be just get over it, just do it. Like, if it was that important, you would do it.
Yeah.
Like, if I went down a path so I proactively lost my body fat, but if I kept going and going and going, and then I ended up in hospital with a proper cardiac situation, then my why would be big enough for me to be like, I need to make some changes.
Yep.
I was proactive about it. Most people aren't. That's it.
So true.
So just, how big is your why?
Yeah.
Just get over it. Just do it. If you really say you want to do it, why aren't you doing it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
You
true.
must not really want to do it. A lot of us want to say, oh yeah, because I used to be that. I used to be a fake producer. As in, I first started, I was doing it a lot. Then I really got serious with my day job. And I had all the equipment in my room. Yeah, I make beats, but I hadn't made shit for years. Then I decided to give it up. Sold all my kit.
Yeah, wow.
Gave it up. And then when I became a minimalist, they were like, what would you do if you had 1 year to live and money wasn't an issue? I'm like, I'd make music. Instantly. Bought stuff back. Stopped lying. Made some sacrifices. My why got big enough.
Yep.
I find joy from it.
Yep.
Just do it.
I love that.
If you're like, oh, I just don't have the time to do it. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Check that screen time.
Everyone has 24 hours. Everyone that's ever done anything has done it in those 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You do.
Amazing. That's great advice. There's a few pieces in there, but I love the get over yourself, no one cares. That's such a big one.
Nobody cares.
It really is huge.
Yeah.
For people, imagine those who are sitting in their 9-to-5s, who maybe have a really creative soul, who have always sort of just done the safe thing, and they're now starting to go, no, I don't want to do the safe thing anymore. I want to follow my dreams, my goals. I want to step into my purpose, but I just don't. I don't have the confidence. I don't know where to start. I don't know, like hands in the air, help me sort of thing. What would you say to those people?
I would say to remember that not everyone's feet fit into the same shoes. And I say that because I think a lot of people that have a 9-to-5 that have dreams and aspirations, they think like, oh, well, the only way for me to make this happen is if I quit this job. But if I quit this job, how am I going to blah, blah, blah? I'm like, who says you have to quit the job? Like, and I think that's because that's a fault. That's an advice a lot of people give. It's just like, you need to just like jump straight in and then just like never look back. No, that's the quickest way, I feel. It works for some people. Here's the thing. It works for some people. It doesn't necessarily work for everyone. You have to do what feels confident. If it means like, okay, well, I'm doing my 9-to-5, but I'm going to slowly start working on this. If it's like during the weekends or whatever, just as long as you start doing something over time, everything you do in life is like, it's like throwing a snowball down a mountain. Eventually it gets bigger and bigger. And the more momentum it picks up, the faster it gets. It's the same thing. So if you just kind of start somewhere, even if it's like 20 minutes a day or whatever the thing is, you're slowly going to get yourself to a position where you're going to build momentum, and then you're going to start to reveal your own answers. So I think never look to anyone to give you solid advice about anything. Really, just at the end of the day, look into yourself and ask yourself, what can I do for myself so that I can feel comfortable moving in that direction? Don't do anything rash. Do whatever feels comfortable. That's just my advice. Because listen, I still work in software. I still do both. And for me, that's what makes sense. It doesn't make any sense for me to let one go and not do the other thing, because my spending habits on equipment is expensive.
I've become accustomed to a certain way of living.
I've become accustomed to my multicolored lights in the studio.
Yes, exactly.
So do what feels comfortable, and don't let anyone ever tell you that like you're not doing it the right way, because the right way is only right for you and no one else.
Yes, amazing advice. Losing my voice. It's so spot on. Because I mean, jumping straight out of your job is the quickest way to just be living in fear, and then trying to do things. You probably make some bad decisions because you got no money, and you're like trying to do everything for money rather than the passion. So just a final word to anyone who is listening and going, oh my gosh, now I'm really inspired and I really don't know what to do, but I want to do this thing. What's maybe one piece of advice that they could start with? Like, what's something that's really important that anyone to follow their dream could start with now?
I wish I had my book fucking ready to go and be like, listen to my book, read my book. And guys, what I would love for you all to do is connect into your spirit guides. Your spirit team are there to fully guide you, lead you, inspire you, show you what you're here to create on this earth. So for me, everything that I do is inspired by my spirit guides. Where I live, how I show up, my content, how I talk to my clients, like my whole entire life is so devoted and connected, literally devoted to my spirit guides. So I would say for those of you who are listening that are inspired, firstly, yay! Secondly, I would seriously say go onto YouTube, go onto Audible, like find whatever you can, go onto YouTube, like find whatever you can about spirit guides, listen, learn, and start to connect.
What advice would you give to them to just start taking action? What would be maybe the first thing they could do to start moving closer towards their goals, their dreams?
Yeah, beautiful. We see this a lot, right? We see it all the time. I will be discerning here and say that for some of us, I mean, even to what we've spoken about today, Sarah, I'm sure some days you and I would like to, exist back in the origins to where our soul exists in our starseed or the other realms up there, but that's not the reality. We have to be within this dimension to do our life's mission. So I think first and foremost to that, for anyone working particularly in an environment that maybe isn't as spiritually open or aware, I'd check in though with, does your light need to be there, and can you find a way to maybe implement better boundaries around yourself and still exist within that? Because sometimes people want to jump out of that, but maybe they are needed in that. So that is just something I'd always be a bit discerning with.
Great
but truly, thank you. It's just I've seen it a lot lately, and it's just a really good one to remember. But further to that, if you are unhappy and you've got that gut instinct of this isn't what I want to be doing, like that's different, right? My advice to that is first and foremost, to what you and I have spoken about today, come into the internal. Don't try and solve the external first. Don't necessarily try and launch the business straight away if your internal system isn't feeling safe, secure, stable, centered, and in alignment with then calling that in. I'd spend some time meditating, traveling even, like really coming into your own. And then, this is an annoying answer, but that next thing is go for it, do it, launch it, birth it, but then trust it. You have to then detach and let it happen. But I do think sometimes we skip the step of this first. So I think that's what I'd be saying to people. If you're feeling like that, come here, get a healing, go to therapy, do the things, journal, whatever you need. But then when you're ready to action it, take a leap, shoot your shot, and then trust in the divine to do its thing.
Okay, last question. So for anyone, if we can think about people who are stuck in jobs who really want to, take that next step, but they're not quite sure what to do, what's your piece of advice for them? I know there's probably 1,000, but what's the main thing that you would tell them?
I guess, it's tough. The only way I could probably talk about it is from my experience. My experience is there's going to come a time when the level of friction, and what I mean by friction is like the level of whether it be, you know, you're depressed, whether it be you feel like you're worthless, or you feel like your life's hopeless, it has no meaning. When it comes to the point where that friction is too much, you know, you're going to either be forced to take action, or you can rather take action and then not have to deal with the demons of that friction. So I feel like if you understand what I'm saying, is that it's better to try than you
get
know,
lost in your own,
to get lost in your own
battles,
thoughts and get trapped in a situation where, you know, there is no way out. And a lot of people can, but there's always a way out. I don't want to say that, you know, there's never a way out, but like, I feel like you need to at least take, even if it's today and you hear this message, just write down what the plan is. Sometimes just that action in itself, saying, okay, I want to do this. Okay, just cool. That's a step. And then it's like, okay, then it's how. Then it's when. Then it's right foot, left foot, you know? So don't try and attack it all at once. You know, I remember a good example is my mum when she was, you know, 50 something. I think she was like, I don't want to give up her age, but like she's like around her late 50s. She just decided she was going to do this. So she started putting bits and bits and bits of money away. And just that action gave her the confidence, you know? You said it before, compounds towards, you know? For me, I'll share, my access point was work gave me an ultimatum. They said, it's either what you're doing outside work or work. So that was the friction point. So I had to be like, all right, see you later. You know, 10 years, whatever they, you know, will they give you long service leave or whatever the hell it is? I was like, all right, take that and stick it in your wherever. I don't need that. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people aren't in that situation where they can do that. I was fortunate enough to have, you know, family, have, you know, a partner who supported me in that decision. But I think it doesn't always have to be that like blow up. But you do have to do something, because otherwise it's going to eat you up inside. The one thing I can guarantee you, from inaction, it will eat you up inside. 100%. And over time, you don't want to be like an old lady or man or whatever, sitting on your bed being like, you know, back in the day I had a dream of starting a podcast.
I wish. Yeah, exactly. That was something that terrified me. And I went, you know, the fear of not doing anything became greater than any fear of taking any action.
That's awesome.
Like, whoa.
You should clip that and make it into a thing. That's, man, I'm actually going to use that. Fear, because it's so true.
It really was. It was like, I'm done.
So final question. So this is for anyone who is, and obviously we've tapped onto this in various ways, but for anyone who is at that point that you were at when you were talking to your mum on the phone in your car going, if this is all there is for me, then, you know, I'm wasting my time. What would the advice be to them? If you could crystallize it into one thing to just focus on to start with, or anything, what would you say to them?
This was the one that's got me stumped. It's not, because there's so many things that are coming through, but it's like, you can do it. Like, so often, like, the one thing that I said to myself is, and I remember journaling this, it's like, I wish that I could believe in myself the way that everybody else does. You can. That belief you see for everyone else, the way that you support everyone else, if you put a fraction of what you pour into everybody else into your dream, it's already done. The fact that you have that dream is because it's destined for you. It's just taking the action to go and get there.